Oh hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I get my upper column mount made. Small win, but a good one. Tag along and see how I did it. I'm working on trying to make this column bracket. I'm going to try and replicate this, but what I need to do is I need to make this longer, just sort of in a bit of a different shape. So what I'm going to do is I want to get these holes from this, because these are the mounting holes, these ones here. So what I want to try to do is get a cardboard template of this, obviously longer, so that I can get these holes where they need to be, and then I can figure out where the mounting is going to be. So I'm just taking my cardboard here and trying to bend it into shape and use the creases of this bracket as my creases here so that I can replicate this shape. All right, so now I'm going to take my marker. No, now I'm just going to fold it. All right, I'll just fold it to make my, oh, that one wasn't very straight. Okay. There's my, all right, now I got to find my marker. So now I'm going to set this back in there. So that's my base. And I don't really need 4 holes. So what I may do is just mark the 2 of them. I think that went that way. So I'm going to mark the front ones. I'll mark all 4 just for giggles. Okay. So there's my holes marked. So now what I got to do is try and figure out where I need the mounting of this up to the dash. How I'm going to do that. It's going to be set back. So I should have probably done that. Well, I guess it's the same either way. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Ish. Okay. So now I just got to line this up and figure how far back from the bolt holes I need to be to have a mounting up into the dash. All right, so just like I said, I'm just trying to, first of all, not have this fall on my head. But what I need to do is get this bracket back and just figure out where I'm going to have it. Lamp is in the way. All right, so if I just use the back 2 holes and come up from them as if these were my holes, because like I said, I don't really need all 4. So if I just used the back 2 and bent the bracket up from there, what I would be able to do is mount up to the dash somehow. Now the steering column is in crooked, twisted this way, so it's not flat. And I'm also, because I'm hitting the brake booster, I'm a little bit off this way, so I still need to elongate that hole in the bottom. And while I'm doing all this, I'm also going to make a bracket for here for the firewall on the outside. I'm going to make a bracket that what it does is bolt through from the outside and has a lip on it and a clamp around it. So basically like a C10. A C10 Chevy is like that on the other side. It's got a bracket that mounts to the firewall and then basically a clamp. That bracket on the firewall has a lip that comes out, sits on top of the column, and then there's a clamp that clamps around it. So that's what my envision is for that, because I've got one of those clamps. I got a couple actually. So that's what I'm going to try and do on the outside of that. But the first major thing is to get this piece done on the inside, just so I've got a flat tab here, and then I can weld another piece to this dash that'll come off and mount that way. Because I don't think, I wonder if I can slide something up in there and get to the original dash holes. That'd be really cool, actually. If I make it come off of these two holes here, I can almost have it go right up, sneak up around the column, and get into those two holes. How could we do that? I think I've got an idea. All right, so here's what my idea is. Now I've lost my other bolt. That's okay. I'm going to take this plate, and what I'll do is I'll bend it up to essentially the same shape as this bracket. Mark the two holes that sort of line up in it. And what I'll end up doing is on the end, I will put a small, I wonder if I can even do it straight. But what I will do is I will essentially cut these bolts down and weld the bolt to this so it goes up and through the original steering column hoop. So this is the original steering column mount from the 51 Merc. So essentially what I'm doing is replicating that with these bolt holes in it, and then just use, instead of, I mean, this is just 1/4 inch bolts, I'll just use 5/16. I could use 1/4, but, and what I'll do is I'll elongate these holes in here a little bit, so I have a little bit of adjustment, and then that'll hold my column up nice and tight, and so that'll be good. So that's what I'm going to do now, is I will mark the center on this, figure out center here, mark my first two bends, then mark my next ones. Yeah, and that should work out perfect. I just happen to have that piece laying around, which is going to be the perfect size for that, actually. So, cool. All right, so let me get to marking this out. Okay. All right, so now what I need to do is just bend these over. So I think what I'll do is I will start with this one and work my way around. So this is my finger brake that I got from Swag Off-Road. And what they do is they basically send this all to you in pieces, and then you weld on the ends and weld in your V-block. So it's a pretty neat kit. And this is the finger one. So essentially what I can do is, if I need to make sort of compound bends that won't, they won't fit up, I can take these out. This is the large section, and then I can take those two smaller sections out. So it's a pretty neat kit. Why is this all? What am I on? So it's not too deep of a bend. We'll just do a little bit and check it. A little bit more, almost. There. That's perfect. So that lines up there perfect, if you guys can see that. And the edge lines up with that. Okay. So I'm going to do this one. Down. Now, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Probably should drill those holes first. Good idea. Okay, I got my holes in there, and they're not perfect because I don't have a mill to clear those out. And anyways, it got a little bit away from me, but that's all right. It'll do for what I care about, and no one's going to see it. So, other than you guys. But other than that, no one's going to see it. So let's go with this. Oh, go a little bit and check. Okay, so a little bit more. They actually sell a little thumb screw to go on this knob, and unfortunately I didn't see it till after I had already ordered this. Perfect. All right, you guys can see that. That's pretty perfect. One on the end lines up right. This one could actually stand to be bent just a touch more than one on the end. So I think I'm gonna, no, I think I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave the one on the end for now. I'm gonna go put it in the car before I do that one, but let's do the one on the other side now. All right, well, that's not bad. It's pretty darn close. I mean, it's, so if I line that up on both sides, it's pretty darn close to that. So I'm I'm pretty happy with that so far. So I'm going to go try this up in the car and see what that does. Well, that should work. I'll just put some washers on those bolts and that should work perfect. Okay. So now the only thing I got to do is figure out the alignment of my pins, which I can't do with this clamp in here. And this is so awkward to hold without the clamp. If I can just eyeball it like that. Well, I can. But now I need my marker. Oh. Oh, really get a marker up in there. Am I going to get bolts up in there? Yeah, I should. I can even cut this down a bit. Oh no, because it's not past the end of the column at all. Right? No. So if I get bolts right on the end of there, and basically they're going to need to be about 1/4 of an inch back from the end. Or even right on the end. Yeah, I'm going to say 1/4 of an inch back from this end. If I put the bolt right on the end there, that'll be just perfect. So that'll go up. The bolts will line up. The bolts actually need to be on the inside of this. Okay, cool. All right. Oh my God. All right, so here's what I've got made up. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's a little bit warm. I should put my gloves on. So basically just tacked on 2 5/16 bolts and cut the heads off, of course. And I'm going to see if that's going to fit up past the column and hopefully get me into where I need to go. Oh yeah, it's going to work. Okay, cool. Whatever. What was that? Wow. Okay. So I just need to, okay, so close. There we go. Look at that. Are they all the way through? Oh yeah. I don't think I can get it through this other bracket up here. No, I'm not long enough. No. Well, that's a bummer. But that's okay. I mean, that's not, it is a sport, but. Oh, what's that? You stay in there. Yeah. All right, so those are on that side. Come on. Okay, there's enough on that side. Now, let's see if I can get my column bolts in. There we go. Oh, that one's far back. Okay, because the column is pushed off to the side, I can't actually get this one on at the moment, but if it was straight, if it wasn't hitting the booster and it was straight, I'd be able to get that on there. So that bracket's gonna work. Cool. All right, so there's my column mount. What I could actually do, and what I probably will do, I think, is lengthen the bolts. I'll cut these bolts back off and put longer ones on. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just... Well, let me think about that for a bit. Because what I want to do is I want to be able to tie... I don't know if you guys can see. So I want to be able to tie the pedal bracket somewhere into the column. So if I had just a piece even that came off and went to these bolts up on here, that would tie that column into the dash a little bit better. Although there is a bracket here that I could also use to tie that pedal in. I mean, it doesn't have to be the steering column. As long as the pedals are tied to the dash somehow, that'll just strengthen that whole firewall up so it doesn't flex so much. So there is another bracket over here actually that I could very easily bring a tab off of my brake pedal here and come right to here and just be a simple bracket, and that would just tie that all in together. So maybe I'll just do that because I like this column mount here. So, okay, great. All right, so there's that column mount, and you can, so that the steering column just is, I don't know if I can get you guys to be able to see that. It's hitting the booster right here. So that's pushing the column off to the side so it's not straight. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this hole down just a little bit more, and then that'll straighten that column out so I can get this hole in, because you can see it's just off a bit. So once it's straight, that'll go in. So those bolts are all the way up in the factory mount, and I'm liking that. So what I'll eventually do is get rid of the key in the column, because I'm going to use the key in the dash, and I'm going to use the factory push button for start on this. I don't know how I'm going to wire that all in, but I'll figure that out. So I'm going to eventually get rid of this and probably smooth this column out. Worst case scenario, I'll go to a different column. Maybe I'll cut up the factory one, but I kind of like the tilt and how this all works. So I don't need any of these rods over here, so I can get rid of all those rods. I mean, obviously I do need the wiring down here because that's for my turn signals and whatnot. So anyways, all that will be good, and I really like that bracket. Hey, thanks for tagging along on this update. that's another good win for me. Small things every night will get me to where I want to be. So next, I've got to cut the firewall down to drop that, make that column drop down and straighten it out, and then I'll make the bracket on the outside. But that'll be another video, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, add comments, all that good stuff. I like to hear from you guys. So hey, thanks for tagging along, and we'll see you on the next one.